How's it going, guys? Crypto here. Today we're going to be going over a wizard build for patch 2.6.1, season 12. It's really strong. It's an old build, but a little modified to make it so that way it's actually viable. It's number one for Xbox right now. So we're just going to go over the gear you need, skills you need, and how to run it. We'll start out with the set. The set is the Del Sears set. You need the helmet, chest, shoulders, gloves, pants, and boots. You're not going to be using a roller or grandeur in this build because you just can't fit it anywhere. And it's amazing. It's a great build. Next thing you're going to need is the Harsh Brags binding for your belt. It's going to make it so that way one of your primary skills is way cheaper. Can't go wrong there, right? Because you're going to be using Arcane Torrent in this build. Then you need the Twisted Sword. Twisted Sword massively multiplies your damage. Gives you up to 150% buff. Stacks 5 times. So whenever you're casting it, you can see above your health bar that there's a little, it looks like your sword almost right above your health bar. And you need to make sure that that's always at 5. Because it can go, you can get above 5, but up to 5 gives you that damage buff. So you need to make sure you keep that at all times. Then you go over to Traveler's Pledge Compass Rose, so for ring and necklace. You need this basically because most of your damage is done while you're standing still. You're not going to be channeling and moving at the same time. So since you're standing still, this is going to give you a nice damage buff. Well, in between the times when you're going from place to place, you're a little squishy, not bad because you have a lot of mitigation built in. But the extra defense while moving will help you out a lot also. Bracers. You have 2 choices technically, but it slightly changes your build. First option, Raker's Folly. You have to either have this on you or in the cube. No question. It gives you up to a 300% damage buff. You can see mine. They're not by any means perfect. I have life on hit on them because right now my survivability, my regen is a little low. So this is helping me out a little bit. But you can see I only have a 258 for the percentage, which is not good. And like I said, I can run over 100 with this already. I already have. So the other option is Asgard's Blood Racers. That would also change some of your passives, and we'll go over that when we get to passives. But they are an option. Etch Sigil. This is mandatory for this build. If you don't have it, it doesn't work. Basically, this is what makes it so that every time you cast Arcane Torrent, you shoot out nice, pretty twisters for free. It's ridiculously broken. And it gives you a damage buff of up to 150%. So every second that you cast Arcane Torrent, you're casting twisters. The only reason you manually cast twisters is to slow down or to reduce your cooldown for your slow time. Because you need to have bubbles up. Everything needs to be in the bubble, or at least have been in a bubble in the last 5 seconds, so you get that maximum damage in those good numbers. Convention of Elements, just to push out more damage. It's going to give you a lot. Try and get your percentage as close to 200 as possible. And that covers what we're wearing. Now we're going to just take a look at our cube. In the cube, we have Death Wish. This either goes on you, and the Twisted Sword goes in the cube, or the Twisted Sword is on you, and this is in the cube. They're the only 2 weapons you can use. Don't run a Furnace or any shit like that. It's too big of a buff to lose. So you need to make sure that you have this either on you or in the cube. It just depends on which is better. Now, here's what changes if you wear Ashnagard's. If you decide you're going to wear Blood Bracers for the extra defense, you have to take off the Mantle of Channeling. Mantle of Channeling gives you a 25% damage boost and a 25% defense boost while channeling. So actually, when you stand still, you get a boost off of these. And then your Halo of Carini. That either has to be on you or in the cube. So it's the Convention in the cube or the Halo of Carini in the cube. But you need it as close to 80% as possible because it's a huge amount of damage mitigation. So then we'll check out skills. When you're looking at your skills, you're going to have Energy Twister, Raging Storm. This gives you hands down the most damage. You cannot use another rune. Sorry. I got a really nice pair of bracers that had cold on them, and I was trying to see if I could use them. It wasn't possible. It massively reduces your damage. So you're going to be arcane damage, period. And yeah, you have to use this. Arcane Torrent, Static Discharge. It just makes it easier to hit more people. You're going to have Arcane on crit for your offhand. So each enemy you hit gives you Arcane power back because of your magic weapon Conduit. Every enemy hit restores up to 3 arcane power. And you're going to have it on crit. So if you crit, you get it back. And as soon as you attack an enemy, you get it back. So this is one of the best to use. Slow time. I choose Time Warp because of the fact that I like the extra damage. You do not, unlike a lot of builds that use Delceres, usually you get every rune of slow time. This time you're not going to get that. So you either go with damage or defense. So you can go Time Warp or you can go Exhaustion. Like I said, I would honestly just go for the damage. You're pretty tanky once you have your bubble up, your dashing, all that goes together, and your channeling. Like once it all goes together, your defense is pretty good. And with your Halo of Karina, as soon as something gets zapped, your defense goes through the roof. Adding a little more tank and some movement, you're going to have Teleport Safe Passage. You could take other runes, but this is, again, more mitigation, and your teleport already comes up super fast because we're running Illusionist. So then you want your Storm Armor, Power of the Storm. You have to take this, otherwise you will not be able to proc your Halo of Karina. So make sure that you take this, otherwise your Karina is completely useless. And then Magic Weapon, Conduit, like we already said, it's to make sure that we can actually keep up our arcane power so we can be casting 24/7 because you never want to stop. When you stop, you're wasting a ton of damage. Illusionist, it's pretty self-explanatory. Whenever you take 15% of your max life in damage, it basically resets all your cooldowns. This will happen like crazy. It's before mitigation. So if you get hit and it would have done 15%, it counts it as 15%. Boom, everything's redone. And now you can pop slow time. You can dash. You can use everything. So it's pretty good. This one is debatable. I know people who run Audacity. I do. It's when you're close. But the thing is, this guy's kind of squishy. So you have 2 options. You can either run that or you can run Power Hungry. The thing is, you just have to make sure that if you run Power Hungry, you stay farther away. If you're running Audacity, you need to be in the middle of the shit. Whenever you're trying to do your biggest damage, you need to get close. That's a 30% buff. Again, Unwavering Will, another thing that gives us bonuses for standing still. You get armor, resistances, and damage for standing still. So after 1.5 seconds, you're going to be killing it. It's awesome. And then I think Unstable Anomaly is mandatory, even on core, because the fact that I pretty much proc this every time it comes up. I don't know how that's possible, but I will be fighting, no problem. And then Unstable Anomaly will proc. I'll be a little bit more careful, but I'm still fighting. And then the proc will wear off, and then right again I'll proc. So I don't understand how I don't die, but I proc like crazy. So I would say you should use it. If you decide, for whatever reason, that you want to run Ashna Guards, you need to make sure to put on Galvanizing Ward, Dominance, because you're trying to bank on these shields, and Blur. You run all 3 of those if you decide that you're going to do that. Then you can I would keep Unwavering Will, and then with the extra tank, I think you might not need Unstable Anomaly, and you wouldn't need either of these. But this is the much more defensive version of the build. So those are just your options. For Paragon, you don't need max arcane power because you're going to only be able to regen it so fast. So movement speed 25%. Everything else into intelligence. Boom, you're golden. In order, cooldown means nothing to this build. So I would go attack speed, crit chance, crit damage, then cooldown. Armor, then life, then resist all, then life regen. Area damage, resource cost, life per hit, gold find. So basically you're just going to have, like you can see once I have my bubble up, this, like I'm not doing great. But I've got 53 million defense, which isn't bad.